I've worked in America's Test Kitchen for over 20 years, and when I describe what it's like to work there, I usually say it's like Candyland. There are beautiful pots and pans stacked to the ceilings. There's lots of people in white chef coats running around making all sorts of delicious food. And there's always a platter of fried chicken somewhere in the building. I don't know what it is about fried chicken, but someone's always doing some testing on it. And I have eaten a lot of fried chicken over the years, but the fried chicken I'm making today is my absolute favorite because it is a very thin, crisp crust. And best of all, you can make it a day ahead and reheat it, and it's almost like it just came out of the hot oil. So it's very convenient if you're having a party. Now for the chicken, it's time to make that all-important batter, because this is batter fried chicken. That means the chicken just gets one dunk in the batter before it goes into the hot oil. So the texture of that batter really matters. And we're gonna use equal parts all-purpose flour and cornstarch. That's how you get a thick batter that's also crunchy after it's fried. So we're gonna add a cup of flour, gonna add a cup of cornstarch. Now we're gonna add a bunch of seasonings to this, starting with a lot of black pepper. Now, I love black pepper. I like it a little on the spicy side. Now, if you're serving this to a crowd, no shame in dialing back on the black pepper just so that it's a little more crowd friendly. But today, I'm making this for me, so all the black pepper's going in, and that's 5 teaspoons. And I just freshly ground this myself this morning. Next, we're gonna add some baking powder. Kind of unusual for fried chicken, but not for a batter. That baking powder will add lift, but also help the chicken brown. All right, so we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Now we're gonna add a little salt, a teaspoon of table salt, some paprika, which is for flavor, but mostly for color. Teaspoon of paprika, and just a little more heat. Again, you can alter this to suit your mood, but we're gonna add some cayenne, half a teaspoon of cayenne. This is part of why this fried chicken tastes so good, because the batter has serious flavor. All right, I'm gonna whisk these dry ingredients together. Now we're gonna add the water. We're gonna add cold water, just 1 3/4 cup. That's the smell of fried chicken batter right there. Oh, that's a good smell. Notice I'm also using a ridiculously large bowl. That's because the batter makes a mess, and I like having the extra splatter room. All right, that's it for the batter. I'm gonna set this aside while we focus on the chicken. And we're gonna brine the chicken in a salt and sugar solution because that makes the chicken taste good. Also, it makes the chicken stay moist as it cooks. So here I have a quart of water. To this, we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of sugar. Now sugar, not necessary in a brine. It does help with browning and it does add a little flavor. I really don't like adding sugars to brine except for the fried chicken because I love that slightly sweet flavor. So that was a 1/4 cup of sugar and now a 1/4 cup of table salt. Ooh. You can be a little rough with the measurements here. All right. All right, so you wanna whisk this all together to make sure it dissolves. All right, I think that's good. Now I'm gonna set this aside and let's get to the main ingredient here, the chicken. So what you want is 4 pounds of bone-in chicken, and that's about a chicken and a half. So it's 3 breasts, 3 drumsticks, and 3 thighs. Now for the breasts, you wanna cut them in half so that they're the same size and they'll cook at the same rate as the drumsticks and the thighs. But I don't really cut them exactly in half. I almost do 2/3 on the thin side and about 1/3 on the thick side. That way they weigh about the same. All right, so into the brine, the chicken goes. And we're gonna brine these just for half an hour to an hour. You don't wanna underbrine it because they won't get seasoned. But if it goes much longer than an hour, it'll get much too salty. So you really wanna time it pretty carefully. All right, so the chicken's in the brine. I'm gonna clean everything up, wash my hands. I'm gonna put the brine chicken and the batter in the refrigerator. Now, we're refrigerating the batter because it'll help thicken up so the chicken is nicely coated before we get frying. All right, so the chicken is out of the brine and the batter's ready to go. Now notice I put the chicken on a nice layer of paper toweling. That's just to help it drain. Also gonna pat it thoroughly dry on top. You wanna get it as dry as possible before getting it into that batter. That way the batter will stick better. The batter will stick better. Say that 10 times fast. All right, so that looks good. Here's that batter that's been refrigerated. Gonna give it a little whisk. Looks good. All right, we're gonna fry the chicken in 2 batches. So I'm gonna take half the chicken, and I like doing all the breasts in one batch and all the dark meat in the other because you cook them to different temperatures. The white meat you cook to 160, dark meat you cook to 175. So just makes things a bit easier. All right, so there's all the breast meat. Oh, coating it in batter. Oh, this is gonna taste good. All right, this chicken is nicely coated with batter, time to fry. And here I have a nice big pot filled with 3 quarts of peanut oil. You could also use vegetable oil, but I love the flavor of peanut oil when frying. Notice I'm using a really large Dutch oven. That just gives you a lot of headroom for any bubbling, so it's a bit safer. And I have a handy thermometer because we're gonna start the oil at 350 degrees, but after you add the chicken, that oil temperature will drop to between 300 and 325, which is perfect. So in goes the first piece. Oh, happy trails, little chicken. All right, 2 more left. Oh, you're gonna be tasty. All right, last one. Oh, you gorgeous piece of chicken, you. Best for last, right, buddy? All right, into the oil. This chicken's been frying for about 15 minutes. I mean, just take a look at this. Hello. My goodness, doesn't that look good? Super crisp crust. All right, again, we're looking for an internal temperature of about 160 because this is the white meat. All right, 160, we're good to go. Now I'm gonna take these out of the oil and put them on a wire rack set in a rimmed baking sheet. Oh, beautiful. I love that sort of dark, almost heading towards mahogany color on the chicken because I just like that browning flavor. Now I'm gonna keep these warm in a 200-degree oven while I fry the second batch. This second batch has been cooking for about 15 minutes and it is as gorgeous as the first batch. Now again, this is the dark meat, so we're looking for an internal temperature of 175. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna turn the heat off. My mouth is watering just taking the chicken out of the pot. Oh, right there, you know that little like wing ding right on top, that little fried bit? That's my piece right there. It's a little extra crunch. Into the oven this goes. That's just a low oven, about 200 degrees. Now let's get the chicken out of the oven. Oh, goodness. Oh, look at that chicken. I call that beauty chicken right there. Oh, and you can hear how crisp that batter is. And again, when you make this a day ahead and you refrigerate it and you put it in a warm oven to reheat, it gets this crisp again, which makes it my go-to make-ahead fried chicken. Oh, that dark color, are you kidding me? Woo. Oh. Hold on, excuse me, having a minute. This is so good. Oh. Perfect crunch. The chicken has flavor because of the brine, and there's a little bit of heat in the back of my throat because I used all the black pepper. The perfect fried chicken dinner. I hope you give it a try. See you next time. Thanks for watching. What'd you think? Leave a comment below and let me know what you're excited to cook this week. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button. You can get today's recipes and more for free at our website, americastestkitchen.com/JuliaAtHome.